Hey, Yang Teacher Thoughts here, coming at you with another video. Today we are going to do a series on how to plant hanging baskets like a professional. So what we're going to plant today is a trailing sun basket, and we're going to use a 12-inch basket to do this. So if you follow along, you should be able to make a basket that looks perfect for your yard and your garden at a fraction of the cost. So the first thing that we're going to start out with is every project needs to have a plan. And one of the things that I create for my students, and I work in my greenhouse, so that I know what basket combinations I like, is I create a basket template. So with this one, for mine, I add my student's name. I say, what type of basket is it? In this case, it's a full sun basket. What size? It's a 12-inch round. What hanging style? And this is a trailing basket. And then what is my material? In this case, we're going to be using a 12-inch round pulp pot. The next thing I do is I list out all of the varieties of the material that I'm going to use. In this case, we're going to be using Chameleon Indian Summer, Bee's Knees, Helichrysum, which is also known as white licorice plant, Surfina Giant Blue, and Solar Tower Black Sweet Potato Vine. And all 5 of these actually came through Ball Seed. So I know where I got them, I know the varietal name, I know everything I need to know about my container. So that's my plan that I make beforehand. And I also do have a layout down here below, so I tell myself where each of those plants is going to go. In this case, our Chameleon Indian Summer is actually going to be the center of our pot because it is upright and mounding, and we use that to cover the top of that pot once summer wears on and it starts to get a little male pattern baldness up top. So hey, let's keep going and see if we can get this done. Set that the plan off to the side. And then we're going to come down here and we'll try to do an over-the-shoulder shot. Hopefully you can see all of this. So this is our 12-inch round pulp basket. A couple of things to note. There are several ridges here. This is a pot made by Western Pulp. So if you get a Western Pulp 12-inch basket, it's going to look just like this. Note that there are brass eyelets that are on 4 edges of the pot. And when we plant our plants, we're going to put them in between that so that our metal hanger that goes on here doesn't run into the plant. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we are going to need to add some potting mix. In this case, I am using Sunshine Mix number 4. And I'm going to fill this pot up until it is just barely below this middle rib. So put that in there. That's going to be about what we need. We can put our soil off to the side. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to work with our center plant. So that's going to give us our space that we're going to be using. In this case, it's going to be this Chameleon Indian Summer. That tag goes off to the side. We do need to save it for later. And when you're removing a plant from a pot, you're always going to put 2 fingers on the side, just like you are Live Long and Prosper. For those of you old enough to remember Star Trek, squeeze both sides of the pot. Place this plant in the center like that. And we can line it up so the flats go towards the space in between the eyelets. The next thing that we're going to do in here is, according to our plan, we are going to put in our Bee's Knees petunia. Again, I place my tags off to the side. I do the same thing. I put my fingers on either side of the stem, squeeze in both directions, carefully support my plant. And then I'm going to put it so that the majority of that plant actually faces the outside of my container. I'm then going to rotate it again, and I'm going to insert my next plant. Now, when you have petunias, don't put the petunias side by side. You want to put them opposite of one another because their growth habit is similar, and we don't want to make a lopsided basket. So in this case, I am going to be using white licorice vine as a part of my texture and color. So this is going to break up that texture and color of that basket and allow my colors to pop a little bit more. And I'm going to take that again, lining up my square towards the outside of the pot, making sure that I am missing those eyelets. Going to rotate my pot again. I have another space here. We are opposite our petunia, so it's okay to put in the other petunia, and this is where we're inserting the Surfina Giant Blue. Take your fingers either side of that stem, squeeze twice, free up that root ball, and then I'm going to aim this one towards the outside. I'll lift up my other foliage to get that out of the way, and I'll gently work that root ball down. Now I'm not breaking up the root ball. I want that to stay intact. I don't want to set my plant back any. while it's growing, I want to make sure the roots are not damaged. Do not break them up. Do not break up the root ball to keep it from being root bound. That is not a thing with herbaceous plants like this with our annuals. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in our Solar Tower Black Ipomia. Again, fingers either side of that pot, squeeze it. This one's got some roots. I can feel it dragging there. It's a little bit dry. Again, we're going to line it up with the square of our Chameleon Indian Summer. I'm going to lift things there. We're making sure that we're putting it in and we're not having any air gaps. So as you see in here now, we've got this down and all of the soil level is about an inch below the rim of the pot. That gives us a freeboard for watering later on. And I'm going to have 4 gaps around the edge of my pot. So I'm going to bring my soil back in. We're going to take a handful of that. We're going to place it in here and you're going to gently just move it around. Do not pack it. Do not cram it in there. Do not squish it in. We want it to pack loosely. If you need more later, you can go back and add that, but it's just a simple handful. And each time you do that, you're going to perform a rotation so that that basket keeps presenting the side that you need to fill. Okay, you can see that I'm just putting it in there loosely and we will water it in later on. Okay, so we're going to take that soil, we're going to move it in there, we're going to come in under the underneath, give it a little bit of a shake, and our pot is sufficiently planted. Now the last thing that we'll do with these is we do want to make sure that we give it one last pinch as we're going through. So I'm going to come in and I'm just going to remove any of the long bits there so we get it to branch a little bit more. And due to the date that we're at, this is going to be my last pinch for these baskets. So from here on out, we won't pinch any, because if I do, I will be removing my bloom for my summer season. So I've got to come in here and carefully pinch any of these that I need to get done to force it to bloom. Our sweet potato vine, we do want it to branch, so we will also cut that off there. It also makes it easier to manage and move around the greenhouse. Going in here, looking at these, I know everybody's going to hate to see me do it, but we don't need buds at this point. We need it to push foliage. So I'm going to remove any buds and also pinch that plant. So that right there is our finished basket. We will water it in. The last thing you need to do if you are a commercial grower is you need to take all of your tags, which carry your patent information from where you purchased it, and you're going to put those in alongside the pot so that your customer has the license that goes with each of these plants. So there you go. That was a really quick how to plant a basket like a professional. Understand when we plant these, I generally plant hundreds of them at a time and I go fairly quickly. If you have questions, please drop me a line. I am going to film a few more of these so you can see the process, but hopefully that explains that. Also, if you go back to some of my historic videos, I have a few other videos showing the planting process, and that's under basket care in the playlist. So I hope it answered some questions. I hope it got you excited about this growing and planting season. And I hope, most importantly, that you learned something. Ag Teacher Thoughts out.